people, we are now looking at Sophia's egg beater story, if you will. And this is where she scanned the shapes and using, what is she saying? Using Photoshop. Yep, great. This one I love, and I also love, I think it was Tammy's comment about the curious anthropomorphized egg beater peers around a corner. Again, just in terms of a visual narrative, this is very enticing. I want to know, where is this story going? And this is what I was saying with Christina's about when it's just in the center, it's the whole egg beater, there's a lot of the mystery that's taken out. And so this is a curious composition, and it makes me curious. I thought that was a really wonderful, again, in terms of visual surprise, I got excited. If you could back up one. Yeah, there's something, starting to build in the story. These little forms are coming into play, and then pow, this change happens. And I think you also do a good job with your pacing. You're not dragging this out into like, one little thing after one little thing after one little thing. And this is what I was referring to in a previous discussion about the idea of a flip book, that you're not inching us along. So this was a beautiful surprise. Nice. So the only place I felt a drastic visual jump is right after that spread that I had just talked about. So we go from there to there. That seemed really like a huge visual jump for me.
Yeah.
Like all that kind of excitement and chaos, and then suddenly everything's in a row. I probably would have encouraged on the left-hand side here a little bit more of a transition into what this next sort of visual chapter is about to do. Yeah, right around in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just in terms of the graphics of this, the graphic quality is just really striking.
Yeah, I love this one.
I did too.
Exclamation point is really nice.
I also love that white space to the left of it. Again,
yeah,
I don't feel that you're just taking us frame by frame by frame, but there's a real significant shift that just happened here. I thought that was great too. Yeah, the use of that handle that way, just scooching those out of there, I thought was really wonderful.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this one? The one right before the end?
I think I got a little lost by the ending, or at least I would expect like another spread with all of these falling down or something completely flat on the ground. That's what I thought would happen. And then this happened, so I don't know.
Yeah, I felt, again, if you back up right there, from there to the next one, felt like, okay, definitely some sort of a resolution has happened. And then the next one, right before the back cover, reactivated it in a curious way and ended. And then what just happened on the back cover? So that's the only one that I thought maybe another spread in between, or take that one out and just end it.
Yeah.
But again, I think the strength is your minimalist quality, your combination of recognizable parts of the egg beater with the abstraction of the egg beater, and a real consistency throughout. Yeah, great introduction. Next, we have Tammy's, and I'm going to take a swig of my kombucha. Oh, look at this. Good grief. Loving the research. Let's see. Egg beater sequence number 2.
I think this is just a research. Yeah.
Yep, it says sequence.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for laying it out this way. It's very easy to see. I think overall for Tammy, I think a lot of yours also, I feel a relationship from spread to spread, but then it's a little difficult. Well, that one has a nice transition, but a little more difficult to see the connection between spreads. And many of them rely on repetition of a form. You know, almost all of them, in
All of
fact,
them. Yeah.
yeah, have that element of repetition. So let's start from the beginning. What I do appreciate for each of these is the abstraction. Again, I do not know what this story is about. I'm following it visually. I'm seeing connections between forms, but I do feel like there's just a lot of repeated forms within each spread.
I think there's repetition in every single one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, all of them. So thinking about, again, how to guide us from, like, for example, the front cover doesn't have a real strong relationship to this first spread. It's like, in a way, it's sort of like putting the egg beater on the cover, announcing this thing, and then taking us somewhere completely different. So even just thinking about that visual narrative, how does that circular form play into this first spread? And what do these lines have to do with what's going to happen on image number 3? Those rigid lines on the, yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at both of these together, and then I was thinking maybe these outer circles are like these flat shapes in here, but I feel like that might be a little bit of a stretch from my part. But I was looking at them and that's what I was thinking, like overlapping, and that's the cover.
No,
that's the
really,
relationship that I made. Yeah.
yeah.
But
No,
then from here to here.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that it's more about spreads than it is about a sequence. And I think, hopefully you are all looking at the work of your peers and just thinking about visual sequence and how does a form relate to another form without can you keep scrolling, without not necessarily butting up against each other, like this one, actually, that one, number 4, that's more like what I'm talking about, that you have this image on the left and I can see the relationship, but they're not the same. It's like parts of that are now falling off. And even the way you end on page 4, that's leading me into the next spread. So I'd like to see, like, okay, but now what just happened to get us to this, But that one, I think, is one of the strong ones, number 4. Yeah. I loved this one. I just loved that. Talk about visual surprise. I don't think it fits in a sequence, but there was something really compelling about image number 9 and seeing that big burst of ink. And it has a similar connection. I mean, it has a formal connection in a way to the bagel shape on the right, but it's, in the overall book, it seems out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's trying to think about how some of these forms might connect to each other. Your marks are beautiful, your abstractions are great. And just really seeing connections between, not just between spreads, but, in a whole sequence, the relationships. Okay. Love seeing your process photos too. Very much appreciate that. All right, Stephanie. And just a reading response for now.
Yeah. So that's it for modules.
Okay,